Are you playing to win or just running out the clock? In sports, the game clock drives every decision. It creates urgency, sharpens focus, and pushes players to perform their best. So what if you treated your life with that same sense of urgency? I've created an exercise to help you do just that. It's called Your Game Clock. Download Your Game Clock today at bill-burke.net/clock. It's free, it's simple yet transformative, and it could be the first step towards achieving peak performance in the areas of your life that matter the most. Remember, life is not a practice run. Every second counts, and your time is now. Welcome to another edition of the Fortitude Forum, and this is a special one because I got my former teammate here, Lorenzo Guest from Michigan State University. He's now the Director of Athlete Performance, and he's also the Strength and Conditioning Director for the legendary and the very prestigious MSU basketball team. Lorenzo, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Mr. Bill Burke, old teammate, quarterback back in the 1900s. Let's go.
Yeah, it's been a long time for sure. A lot of those years have rolled by, but you look good. I know you're, of course, keeping in shape because you got to keep all those high-level Michigan State athletes in shape. And I'm excited to talk to you, man. We were reconnecting a week or two ago, but I love the fact that you're here so I can pass along all this knowledge and rare experience that you have for the listeners. I wanted to start with this. You've been a player at Michigan State. You've been a coach at Michigan State, now a leader. What does Michigan State mean to you? You've obviously chosen to remain here, and you've spent such a big part of your career here. Why this particular university? Why is it such a core place and a core pillar of your career?
That's a great question. I never really thought about that until just recently. So I've been here. I've been in school here for 5 years, and then this is my 13th season back, I think. So I almost spent most of my life here in East Lansing. But it's important to me because it's about family. Since I was getting recruited, since I play here and now I'm working here, it's all about taking care of the people around me, and it's here. So I came back to coach here because I get the opportunity to be a leader to the kids, to be a good example, and I get to show them how the things I wish I would have did differently, and also things that will help them be successful when they leave out of college.
Yeah, don't we all wish we could go back knowing what we know now?
Yes.
We'd all be even more successful. I mentioned rare during the introduction because you are really a rare individual in terms of this whole college sports thing, because you played not just football at Michigan State, but basketball as well. And there has to be just such a small percentage of athletes that were able to do that, even for as long as that you did it. So talk about that experience and how did that experience shape not only your career and your mindset, but also how you actually go about coaching these athletes today.
Back then, the career, maybe the only person ever get a chance to get to play under Nick Saban. I was our head coach, and then my position coach was Mark Dantonio, and then my basketball coach was Izzo. So I got that. There was 3 Hall of Fame coaches I got to work with when I was in school here, and playing 2 sports would taught me basically what did I say? Teach me to be had to be very skilled at time management, because I went from one sport to class to another sport to class. So when I was playing 2 sports, that's when I had my best GPA, because then I didn't really have any time to do anything else besides go to practice and then go to class. So that taught me time management skills at an early age, and then I used that as I went through my career, as far as being a GA, getting my MBA, and then I got my doctorate, and I was working the full-time job. Just time management and learning to figure out what's important, do the things that are important, and then things that are not important, it just don't do them.
Well, give me one tip about time management, because I know my own experience as a college athlete, it felt like I had zero time. And I don't think a lot of people realize from the outside how much time goes into this whole thing, not just with the athletic side, but of course, academics. And then there's not just practice, but there are meetings and film sessions and study table, because you're trying to balance it all. Give me one tip that you maybe didn't do so well when you were in the middle of that experience, but now you've learned to do really well, and then the people listening can take it away and put it into their own lives.
One thing I didn't do very well when I was in college was I didn't really sleep that much, because I made everything important other than sleep because we was 18, 19 years old, so we didn't think we needed to sleep back then. But the thing I would do now, do over, I would have a we had phones, we had cell phones. We didn't have cell phones back then. So I would have a calendar in my phone, which we have now, and I would make a list of what's important and not important, and then put in my calendar, and then I would go through the day that way. But back then, I would just figure stuff out. I just I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then sometimes you got it done, sometimes you didn't get it done. But I would grade it, write everything down, put it down what's the most important, and then go from there. Because like you said, we had meetings, we had lifting, we had classes, we had 3 classes a day. Then you had to watch film. Then you had to get the extra workout in. So we had to prioritize different things back then, but at the same time, but I never wrote anything down, and then we didn't have the computer in our pocket to make sure we can look at it and make sure we check it off and make sure we get it done. We just had to kind of memorize most things back then, and that's what we do now. As far as I'm here in Michigan State, so I have a calendar. I write everything out on Sunday, what I have to get done for the next week, and then we have different reminders that will tell me where I'd be at a certain time because I was scheduled out on Sunday.
Yeah, everything you just alluded to, I think, is mostly, well, from your experience, is mostly physical. Of course, if you're not getting enough sleep, you're going to feel run down physically. But I'm just curious, like, I struggled mentally just getting it all done and being exhausted mentally from all the physical stuff. But how did you battle, or what did you go through mentally from a mindset perspective, or how did you implement mental toughness in your schedule when you were a dual sport athlete?
I just simple. I just did it. I didn't know anything else to do because the last thing you want to do is you want to miss a meeting and then you be running with Coach Manny, or you miss a meeting and then now you won't be playing. Then we just got it done. It was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you got a meeting at this time, you ain't gonna forget about it because you gotta be there. If you had class, you better go to class. Cause that one day you miss class, that'd be the day somebody check your class, and then now you got a situation. But I didn't really have the missing class was never an issue because my whole goal was to graduate. I didn't want to be the guy that I didn't want to be the guy that left, go to school, and then go back home without a degree. Now, my thing was I wanted to have a degree because I wanted to make sure my grandfather, my grandmother, my mother, and my family was proud of me. That was not an option to not go to class, but all the other stuff was up for grabs. But going to class and going to practice and doing football and basketball, so that was a lot. That's going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, if I'm picking up what you're putting down, and which I think I am, a lot of times mental toughness is fueled by fear, and I had a lot of those same fears as well. So I know where you're coming from with that. But it also speaks to accountability, right? Because when we have coaches that care about us, even if they're hard on us, they want the best for us and they can get the most out of us. And I know I experienced that as well in college. I hear what you're saying, and I'm just curious too. What was it like, or what did it mean to you to be a part of that Final Four run in 1999, but also then just a few months later, being a part of a Citrus Bowl championship football team with football? Those are two rare experiences in the two biggest college sports within the time frame of less than a year. So what was that like for you?
Oh, that was crazy. It was. Let me tell you that everyone. It was crazy as we was going we got done with it, but going through it, it was like this is what we supposed to do because we come here to win. I won in high school at a pretty good level, so as you're going through it, you're like, man, this is what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to beat everybody. Every game you play, you're supposed to win. And then at the same time, you had our coaches. Oh, they were like Coach Saban always said was the process. Don't worry about the outcomes. Worry about the process. So we all just going through. Okay, boom, won this game. All right, now you got to go to practice the next day. Then we got to go through the little details to help us continue to be successful. And then that's all. Just every little thing instead of worry about the outcome or the overall goal. Coach Saban always said that. Coach Izzo always said, just go to practice the next day. And they never let us like celebrate us winning the game. So let's go to like in football. So they're going to the Final Four. We never was able to celebrate like we just won the game. It was you win the game, show the next day, and prepare for the next team. It was no good job or congratulations. It was this, we got another game. So we went to the Final Four, lose to Duke in the Final Four. I come back from the Final Four. That the next day, like, so we lose to Duke, stay the night, come back next day. I go right over to football practice. So it wasn't no, I get to celebrate. I went to the Final Four. It was like, okay, boom, we got football practice, we got spring ball, and now it's time to try to win a position, win a spot. The football season, spring ball's over with. Had that. What we had a month off. Then we back into football summer training. So there was never a time for you to sit back, for me to sit back and say, yeah, man, we went to the Final Four, won Big Ten championship 2 years in a row. It was, we won the Final Four, went to the Final Four, won a Big Ten championship. Now you got football practice, and it was like that nonstop for two and a half years. With never any time to celebrate. Or the year before, we didn't, in football, we didn't go to the bowl game. So there was no time for me to wallow in our sorrows, either celebrate, because I went from football to basketball to football, back to football to basketball, back and forth for 2.5 years. And at the same time, we had coaches that never let you celebrate either. Whether you win or lose, they're all on top of you. That's coaching you. Like, for example, we beat Northwestern, was it 31-0 that year, and then we get in the meeting room with Coach Saban. You thought we lost the game by 2 touchdowns. So it was for two and a half, 3 years with Coach Izzo and Coach Dantonio, and then Coach Saban.
Yeah, I hear you. I remember I tell people this all the time. When we lost a game with Coach Saban, the next day at practice, he was in a great mood, which was weird. But when we would win a game, he was in the worst mood the next day. And I never understood that until many years later. But he was so afraid of all of us becoming complacent after a
Yep.
win. And I think that's such a great lesson for us to all learn now. You can't rest on what you've already accomplished because there's always another mountain to climb. As no, I know what you mean by that. I experienced that firsthand as well, but I was confused, probably like a lot of players were, over
Yes.
that mentality. But it all came to light many years later when I got away from the game and became a little more mature. And you mentioned Coach Saban and Coach Izzo. Those are two legends. Coach Saban, what, 7-time national champion head coach. Coach Izzo is one of the greatest to ever do it in college basketball, national champion, multiple Final Fours. What's one lesson? You also mentioned Mark Dantonio, who's in the College Football Hall of Fame, arguably the greatest Michigan State football coach ever. What's
Mhm.
one lesson, because you've been exposed to all of those guys, that you've taken away from each one of them, and how are they similar, and then how are they different?
No, one lesson with Coach, like I said, with Coach Saban was he always talked about the process. He always have a goal, but you got to have the process, a small goal to get to the big goal. And then don't worry about the big goal. Just worry about the little things you got to do and create the habits to get you to that goal. Coach D was very similar to Coach Saban, but he's like a little bit more laid back. And then Coach D will always say, you got all this is nice. Like, sports is nice, all the going to school, but you got to take care of your family. With you at the time I was in college, but then as I got older, and I worked with him at Cincinnati and I worked with him at Michigan State. He always talked about your family, take care of your family. And then Coach Izzo always say, um, he always talk about self-evaluate, push yourself, and then you got to make sure that you know what you want to do. Um, Try to figure out what you want to do, and then try to find somebody to pay you to do it. And then the similarities of all three of them was, um, they had a vision to whatever the vision was for their teams. They had a vision to be successful, and then they all always came down. All three of them would make sure that all three would talk about family. All three would talk about you have to know what you want to do, and then you have to fight for it. And like I said, all three of them successful, and I got a chance to work under two of the three, and then play under all three of them, and they helped me get to where I'm at now.
Yeah, just such amazing lessons from. I'm sure you feel blessed and just so fortunate to have been exposed to all three of those guys. Just amazing lessons. I know, like you, they carry with me and stay with me every day now going forward, and have for the past 20 some years. So I feel really fortunate to have been exposed to all of those guys. So not so much Coach Izzo, but Coach D and Coach Saban as well. And man, the lessons that have come that I am now passing to my kids are really just so impactful. And I'm curious too, how do you take those lessons from each one of those guys and weave those into the work that you're doing now with the athletes that you're trying to get bigger, stronger, and faster?
Yeah, with the guys is I get to do two things with the guys. I get to work with them in the weight room, and I also get to work with them as in the player development sector as well. So what I do is, far as the weight room is, like I said, I'll make sure that we all start off with some type of goals. Whatever the goals they want to have, it's got to be some type of goal we work with in the weight room. And then every single time I get a chance to work with the guys, I get to see where they at with the goals and how they trying to achieve those goals. And I was telling them, like, you might have this weight, you might want to get stronger in the bench press or get faster. Every single day we come in here, we're going to find a way to get a little closer to your goal. Don't worry about being the fastest guy on the team on day one or every single day, but every single day we're going to do something to get you closer to what you're trying to get to. And then I can just also say that I did it before. And when if they ever try to say, you ain't did this, how can I trust you? What you're doing right now, I did it 5 years ago, and I played arena football. I still train, so I know how to know what you need to do to get to where you want to get to. And then off the field, the ultimate goal is to develop these young men so when they leave college, they are successful fathers, husbands, sons in the world. Because we all know at one point in time, the ball gonna stop dribbling, and the football you're gonna be able to run the 40 as you get older. So the goal is to make sure that you are a productive father when you get done. So I try to instill different things in the guys so when they get done playing, they are independent and they know how to function and to be a functional adult. Because the goal is you want them to be. I learned this from one of the kids' fathers told me like 10 years ago. He said the goal is for the kid to be a stick, not a boomerang. And I started laughing. He said, "You know what I'm talking about?" I said, "Yeah." The goal is when they graduate for them to go on their own and not go back home like a boomerang. So that's why I try to help our guys in every single day in the weight room at each level. Try to give them like a nugget to ponder on, and then we meet like once a week as a team to work on like their mental toughness or mental development, so they be grown men. They get up out of there instead of being an immature young kid and they gotta go back home. That's the last thing I want them to do.
Aside from the physical stuff, you mentioned the mental side. What's one or two things that you really try and impress on the guys in terms of mental toughness and mental fortitude? And then what do you see young guys struggling with in that department now? Because there is so much to juggle, and this is a high pressure environment. It's not for everybody. So, how do you instill those lessons of mental fortitude so then they can go out and perform at their highest level physically when the lights are the brightest?
So one thing we talk about is like I said with Coach Saban is the process. Like what is first of all like your goals. The first thing I talk about the goals. So you have a plan. Have a plan in life because a lot of times people don't write down the goals. They don't have a process. They don't have anything. They just go through life like they're just freestyling it. With our guys is we have a plan. So they have goals. They have small goals, and we go over them. So when something happens, they know like something happened, good or bad, they know how to react to it. It's not like the first time it happened. So let's say in the basketball game, in football games, let's say football game, in practice we go over as a quarterback, we go over cover one till we blue in the face of the team with cover one defense. So when we get in the game, we prepare for cover one. They run different coverage. We practice other coverages just in case they run something different. Basketball game, they run a 2-3 zone. We go over 2-3 zones, go over free throw plays on our offenses. So when they get in the game, they know how to react. So in life, right now with the guys are getting paid. So we talk about financial. We had a lot of financial literacy meetings. Talk about how you take some money, put in a savings account, take some money, put in an account for your taxes. So we try to have different things that the guys were actually engaged in life. So when they get done, so when these things happen, it's not a surprise. Then if something do happen that's a surprise, they can feed off of different things that they already did. So they won't lose their mind in that situation.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. There's so much that's needed for these young people. And I think sometimes when we're watching on TV, we forget that they're actually human beings. They're not just superhuman and super athletes. There's so much that goes into these guys and girls. And I know that their schedules are spread so thin. So I think the work that you're doing outside of the lines of the court is really important as well. And I want to know too, I want to ask you, you spent about a decade coaching football players. So what drew you to make the shift to the basketball guys, and how has that changed your perspective on things? If it has, and how are those two programs different?
Oh yeah, it's crazy because I worked in basketball. I started off coaching basketball. When I got done playing at Michigan State and I graduated, I went back home and I was a basketball coach for 3 years in my high school. I was assistant basketball coach for the varsity, and I was a strength coach, basketball coach. Then I ended up going through football. Then I ended up back in basketball with South Florida with Coach Heath in 2009. Then I went back to football with the tight ends coach. Then I was in football for so many years, and I came now back into basketball. It's like how my career was. I was like playing football and basketball, and football and basketball. But what brought me back to basketball was it was a position. The position opened up. Marshall Rupp was here as the basketball strength coach, and then he decided he wanted to go somewhere else to do something, do another part of strength and conditioning. So I was like, I oversee the whole athletic performance department, and then coach called me, and then they had the position open. He's like, I need a strength coach. So I decided, can I interview for the position? I said, I said, worst thing happened. He said, no. Worst thing happened. He said, yes. So he said, yeah, but talk to your wife. And then he gave me an opportunity to interview for the position, and I got the job. So it was amazing. I'm the head strength coach. I'm not the assistant strength coach like I was in football. And I get to run everything as far as the strength and conditioning part. And the differences is that like in football, it's 120 guys in college football. So you might have 35 to 40 guys per lift group. There's 5 coaches now in college, but it's a lot of different guys. There's a lot of different personalities. Football, usually the football guys been training their whole life, most of the guys. So the mentality there is that you have to lift, because if you don't lift, if you haven't lifted, if you don't lift, you might get hurt like real bad in football. So them guys are usually coming in there and they're a little bit more aggressive. They ready to lift. Basketball you got still some guys that never trained really, and there's some guys who has trained. They ain't really trained that hard because you still can get it by, but not lifting as hard as football guys. So my mindset is we're gonna start training like football guys. We're gonna train hard, but we're still doing basketball stuff. But I'm not. But we're still training. We're training hard to get because since '95, '96, Michigan State basketball team has been bigger and stronger than most people we go against. So that's been the mentality that we're gonna train hard. We're gonna live hard. We're gonna be tough. So I just want to continue that legacy. So we train hard. We still train, do a lot of basketball stuff in our training, but we still training.
That brings up a recollection of a funny story that's been well documented about Coach Izzo. I don't remember what year it was, but he felt like his team was not tough enough. Being a football fan, as he is really good friend is Steve Mariucci, former NFL head coach. He goes over and he gets some shoulder pads and he puts them on his basketball team, and they practice with shoulder pads to become more physical. And I just love that story, and he's a legend for it. And I love the mentality of just going for it like he did. I know where you're coming from with that, and I love the fact that you got that football background and now you're bringing that to the basketball program. And I don't know whether they know it or not, but they're really fortunate to have that from you, because I think in this day and age, as basketball is somewhat of a contact sport, and you got to be physical in order to compete at a high level. So I love that.
Let me say that. So you said
Yeah.
the shoulder pass. So it was during the Citrus Bowl. So we was at the Citrus Bowl, and I ran into coach. Coach came to coach go to most football games. So he came. They just lost to Wright State, which he was just. I think he was ranked like 5th in the country because he just won the Big Ten championship 2 years in a row. Went to the Final Four. The next year, I think Matine was out with a foot injury. They lost to Wright State. I want to say a day or two before our game, and I ran to coach. And coach he had a few choice words to me. And I'm like, what's going on? I said, did you have shoulder pads at practice for real? He said, yes. We went over and got the shoulder pads. We had practice. We did war drill for 45 minutes with the helmets and shoulder pads on. I did, man, coach, you crazy. He said, yeah, we win the national championship this year. We're going to figure it out.
There's got to be video of that somewhere. I'd love to
There's
see
video
it.
out there.
Are you able to build more intimate relationships with the basketball guys because there's fewer of them? It's really hard to build solid, deep relationships with 100 guys on a football team. So what was that dynamic like, or how is that dynamic different?
The football, I had the cheat code because I was doing myself and Elliot Daniels was doing the player development program. That when I first got there, coach just said, "You gonna talk to the freshmen?" And I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "You figure it out. You're gonna talk to the freshmen once a week and figure it out." So from 2012, for the whole time I was in football, I was working with the player development program, and we met with the freshmen once a week about any topic we come up with, but all the topics was relatable to their life experiences. And then the next year, from year two, it went from me with the freshmen once a week to sophomores every other week. Then year three was me with the freshmen once a week, sophomores every other week. Then the older guys once a month. So I had the cheat code. So I was able to meet with all the guys basically once a week for 10 years. And so now I do that same program here with the men's basketball team. As far as we train them 4 days a week on the off season, 3 days a week during in season. So I get to lift them. So I get to meet with them like at least 4 times a week individually in the lift. So I talk to them throughout the lifts. I talk to them after the lift, and we meet together as a team once a week. So yeah, so I get a chance to meet with these guys numerous times, and so I get to know them. I get to know their family. Get to know what the goals are. Get to know what's going well, what's not going so well. And sometimes they try to tell me that everything's going good. I'm like, I meet with you 8 to 10 times a week. I know you as a person way more you think I do know you. I got a chance to spend a lot of time with Fears when he got hurt. Jackson when he hurt his foot. So Sanders hurt his foot last year. So all the guys right now with Caleb Glenn, I get to meet with him more. Yes, I get to meet with the guys more because it's 15 of them. We always got to try some way to somehow to tune in with each person. So when they leave here, or when they hear more, when they leave here, when they hear, you get to know them as a person and be there from good and bad.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. That's true. I mean, that whole lifting session with a coach, that is a really intimate setting. There's an opportunity to build strong bonds. And that's a very intense hour in a
Yes.
lot of different ways. So I like that. You've had the chance to work with some of the highest performing athletes now over your career. And I'm just curious, have you seen a pattern or maybe one or two traits that not just great athletes, but maybe the best of the best, the elite guys, the leaders? What do they all possess or have in common from what you've seen?
Most of them have in common that they have a drive. Like because we've been here together. We have some guys that's super duper talented, and then they don't want to do anything. So they're usually the guys who have a drive that no one can stop them. They have a purpose. That the reason they have a why. Them are the guys that usually continue to go on to do great things here and away from here. And then also the guys who then you have the guys who will look out for everybody else, take care of your great teammates. Those same guys also would go off and do great things. So because you have here, I've seen some guys that's the freakiest athletes and be successful or the same or not be successful, but the ones who are like have a drive to that there's no quit in them, or and the same time that they take care of the people around them. Those guys will go on and do great things.
Yep, I love that answer. I've seen it too. I've seen it too. The best of the best. I love to study those guys and girls, and it's really interesting and fascinating to see the common traits that they all have. Lorenzo, this has been great. I've got just one more little mini segment for you. I'm going to hit you with 5 rapid fire questions. All right, just shout
Okay.
out the first thing that comes to mind, and this will be fun. So, number 1, here we go. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice is be yourself. Somebody told me be yourself. There's only one Lorenzo Guest. Be Lorenzo Guest, don't be somebody else.
That's right. Love that. Number 2, a Spartan moment that sticks out in your mind that you'll never forget.
I've been a whole bunch of those. I'm gonna give you 2 of them. I'm gonna give you one when you threw that pass to Plex, and not was it against Michigan. He threw that pass to Plex. He scored a touchdown. Another one was when Herb Haygood scored a touchdown down the middle against Notre Dame, and another one was last year. After we won the game, our last home game, and they dropped the confetti for the Big Ten championship.
Nice. I promise you, listeners, I did not put up Lorenzo to throw me into that answer, but I think the play you're referring to is the flea flicker against Michigan. Is that the one?
Yes, yep.
Yep, yep.
That
I
was
remember
crazy.
that
We actually
distinctly.
ran it.
Favorite workout or lift in the weight room?
Me working out with the guys.
You yourself personally.
Oh, my favorite workout is I'm gonna just do a full body workout. It's gonna be hang cleans, gonna be some squats, it's gonna be some deadlifts, and then bench press and pull ups.
Okay, got it. I'm writing that down.
Yeah.
One book or resource that's changed the way you coach or lead.
One of the books that changed my way I coach is Energy Bus.
John Gordon?
John Gordon. Chapter
Yeah,
18.
yeah.
Chapter 18, no energy vampires. So
That's right.
don't be an energy vampire, be an energy energizer. So come in with energy every day. You ain't gotta be bouncing off around the walls, but don't be coming in with energy vampire. If you do, I'll tell them to protect your neck and I kick you out of the weight room.
All right, last one. What does fortitude mean to you in one sentence?
To me, get it done. Have a plan, get it done. Like Coach D always say, blue vase it. Blue vase it means by any means necessary, get it done.
And we'll end right there. I love it. Have a plan, get it done. Lorenzo, this has been awesome. It's been great to reconnect with you, man. Tell the listeners how they can connect with you or follow your journey as you progress with Michigan State basketball.
My Instagram page is Dr. Lorenzo Guest. That's my IG page. I'm on LinkedIn as well as Lorenzo Guest. And if you want to email me at guest@msu.edu.
All right, awesome, man. Good luck with each and every team that you're coaching at Michigan State this year and beyond, and can't wait to see what the performance is like and what those outcomes are like on the field and on the court. So thanks, Lorenzo.
Oh, thanks for having me.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care.